Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, the 17th of March, 2023, and we look like we're having some kind of pullback here on the S&P 500. University of Michigan, consumer sentiment is out at 10 a.m. That's major news for today. And then just to look at the banking situation, Credit Suisse has been bailed out. First Republic has been bailed out, and we can already see that the shares have soared since central bank aid announced. So Asian markets rises. Wall Street banks move to short banking system. So there's a protectionary vibe going on, a recovery vibe going on. Obviously, like there's underlying issues at play that this is band-aiding essentially, but look, it is what it is, and we just got to ride the waves. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day for us. So looking at the S&P 500, this is quite a strong turning point here at 39,000. 3,900. Sorry, I keep switching between the Dow Jones and S&P. It's just one of those things. 3,900, we've got quite a strong turning point here up to 4,000. And, we could see it go climb to 41,000. This is very important, this point here. We need to see what happens today and tomorrow, or Monday next week, if we get a topping at 4,000 and then a resumption of the downtrend. But a pretty strong turning point here. I need to see it kind of pitter-patter out at 4,000 today and then come back to the downside. But a very strong bullish candle on the daily from yesterday. And it's holding technically at the top of the bearish channel here. So we see this holding here. Okay, really between 38.50, this area here, it's real strong support. Okay, so this has now become demand. I'm going to make 3,900 blue, and we can see like it's a pretty interesting point for us on the S&P 500, because if we get a sell-off from 4,000, I dare say, we're going to definitely go down to 3,800. And if we pierce 3,800, we are in very bearish territory. So this is the important point here for the S&P 500. On the Dow Jones index, we have the same kind of action happening, except it's a little bit more bearish. Okay, we didn't have much of a pullback. Okay, we still have this massive imbalance candle here on the daily between 32,500 and 33,000. So this could fill quite quickly if it wants to. Okay, we can see that there's the daily channel looks like this, and it's very much the downside. So we have come back up to 32,500. Are we going to come back up to 33,000? I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see. I dare say it's going to overshoot a little bit into 32,500 and then continue its downtrend, because we are, I'm not picking bottoms, especially when you've got all this imbalance to the left-hand side of the chart here. On the 4-hour, we can see that we have had this buy up yesterday. Some of you guys got stuck in selling too early. You just got to practice that. It's all good. Just practice, working out when it's too strong a move in one direction and just closing out at break even or taking a small loss. It's part of the game. Definitely shouldn't be seeing large drawdowns or losses, and that's by honing your ability to make a decision to get out. When prices just pushing too strongly in a certain direction. Yes, it's interesting price action at the moment because we are in strong. There's more volatility. Okay, so we're getting moves that are wider than the riverbank, and that's what's causing a bit of overshooting of the river at the moment. And it's new conditions especially compared to the last 4, 5, 6, 7 months. So adapt. You're learning, and that's the most important part. This is still supply here, 32,000 on the 4-hour, and we see we've got this. We're still in a downtrend. Okay, 32,500 could be another point that this continues up to here before continuing to the downside. This by no means is a strong trend line in the middle here, but we can see that does form kind of something. there, but this is the general pattern at the moment. And unless this breaks above here, we are in a downtrend. Okay, so still in a 4-hour downtrend. On the 1 hour, we've got some more clearer. We've got a clearer sort of trend pattern going on, and we've got some buyback towards 32,500 at the moment. Okay, has 32,000 become a demand zone yet? We don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm going to mark it as demand now because price is above it. Okay, price is above 32,000 at the moment, but we'll see what happens. Okay, we're going to see how this plays out over today. And look at the price action that we've got on the screen. On the 1 hour, we see it's quite, it's gone up to the pulled back on the high time frame. Likewise, like this. So the pattern goes up, comes down, pulls back, comes down. That's the kind of thing we're looking at. That is the pattern of a downtrend. It's pretty simple stuff. So we see here that we have this downtrend action at the moment, and what we are looking at is, this kind of area to sell. So I'm still definitely selling this unless we it's a downtrend. You know what I mean? Like, this needs to, even if it works its way over here, it's still gonna probably come back down to downwards. So nothing here is indicative to me of this direction changing yet. Okay, just some interim buying. It needs to continue outside of this overhead channel here and grind outwards. Okay, and if it does that, we're going to see that today and early next week. But in the meantime, like, this is kind of the higher time frame sell zone. Okay, so 31,500 is the next area to breach. 31,500 to the downside there. And just remember that, always check your higher time frame analysis when you're on the river, because you can get caught up in the river's momentum and lose sight of the big picture. It is buying. It is a bullish, an interim bullish trend at the moment. Like, if you look at it from here, it's with a higher high, a higher low, a higher high. And if this becomes a higher high, if it holds here and then pushes the upside, I dare say that it's probably going to be the last leg up before it continues its downtrend. But we'll just see what's happening right now. The way I see the market is still in a downtrend. Okay, but we do have some much larger bullish candles. You can see that this pattern here and this pattern here, we don't really see that at all from the 14th of February all the way down to where we are now. This pattern here is changing in terms of how much buying is going on. So it is a bit more bullish than anything we've seen since the 14th of February. So just be aware of that. So looking at where we're at now, let's just get these little boxes here. We're going to zoom in on this area here now. And we are kind of waiting for that kind of thing to happen again around here. Let's see what happens. Let's go on the river. Okay, river yesterday, just to cover yesterday's trades, we didn't quite reach the demand zone here. We had a higher low. It bounced out straight after the open. We had a nice skewed London session, and then we bounced straight out. We made this hot knife through butter pattern to the upside. Okay, literally, like, if I'm just going to invert this, you're going to commit this to memory. If I invert that, that is a pattern we have not wanted on the downside. Okay, touches the top and then just cuts across. There's nothing stopping it. It's like making a statement. It's like, I'm going up. Like, there's nothing stopping me. I'm just there's no selling. So this is inverted, and it's exactly the pattern that we don't want to see, like, to the downside. So you're going to train your eyes on both angles, and this is the art that this is what you're learning, and this is what we need to ascertain. So I didn't put a trade on yesterday because I saw this, and some of you did, and that's fine. You're learning. Some of you, you don't need to trade every day. You put, it's not about just putting a supply zone there and selling at the supply zone. It's seeing the physical pattern of the candles. Okay, you need to see what the candle pattern looks like. This is what we want to avoid. We always want to avoid this. Okay, Like if we go back to other days when this has happened on the downside, boom, there it is, that kind of pattern. Okay, we need to see, look, same thing here. It happens there, pulls back, and then after this here, this kind of thing, we've kind of got a safe trade on. But this pattern is not safe for us to buy on. Okay, therefore we don't want to sell on the pattern and the other way. Like exactly what's just happened, it's the exact same thing to the opposite. This could have continued to the upside. Okay, so we don't want to be like selling on that, buying on that. Hang on, I don't want to confuse anybody. Same pattern here. Okay, during London, we're in a strong downtrend. We've got strong trendy movements at the moment. See, this is safer because we get the pull back. Okay, and we've got this kind of action happening throughout the day. So this is safer action. I don't think it's going to continue collapsing after this too far. Okay, but when it's this straight grind thing that we're seeing here, like there's no, everyone always says it's grinding, it's sliding. That's the pattern, and it's been happening all week. Okay, we've been getting this pattern all week. This is safe to trade. Okay, same thing has been happening all week for our strategy. Thing is, the automation has been working very well with the strategy, with buying and selling the past few days. The only time it lost was on the Tuesday and the Thursday when it had this huge move. Okay, yesterday was another huge move. This is safe. Okay, this is safe here. Now, the difference between this pattern here is clear as day. Okay, it doesn't go up like that. Stops, grinds in the middle. Please try and see what I'm showing you here, and it is here as well. This if it didn't pull back like this and flatten out, like once it got to here, then I was safe buying, but not this shape, and hugging and pushing outside of the black band as well. We see it here, okay, and we see it yesterday. Look at the difference. It just goes up. There's no selling on it. There's no resistance. It's just, it's like a torpedo, just whoosh, a rocket, okay? And then it holds outside of the top of the bank. I really hope I'm not confusing you with them. So I'm trying to articulate, quite complex pattern recognition. But at the end of the day, that right there isn't safe to trade, okay? If we invert that, because we've been used to seeing it to the downside, you see right now, you would not buy that, right? You wouldn't buy there. And after here, when it gets down there, and it's, especially down here, that's a decision where I'm getting out. Like, worst case scenario here, I'm definitely not hanging on. Okay? So, commit that to memory. And trust me, it's memorable. Because there's a bunch of us that do this. And this is what I'm teaching you, solely to stay out of strong movements like this. We're getting hyper-focus. So yeah, that was a high probability trade zone. We check this zone. We don't just have a trade sitting there. We check it, and we see what price action looks like once it goes through that zone. If I come back and the alert goes off, and the alert's here, and I see this, I'm not touching that. Right? I'm not touching that. It's just like, I need to see this action, like this. Once it gets there, then I'm going to sell it. Not, okay? Because it's indicative. There's no roof. There's nothing stopping it from going up. It's like you're holding a balloon underwater and you've released it. It's just continuing. There's so much pressure to the upside, and that's what we see. You saw this buyback. It was due a buyback. A lot of you guys got stuck yesterday, and then we returned to the downside. Okay. Now looking at this pattern, like I would buy this. Okay. Why would I buy this? Because I'm not going to take profit at the median. I'm going to do little scalps here, but I'm buying it because we're pulling back to the median. This kind of action is happening, right? This kind of action is happening. So it's going to do that on the way down, right? It's predictable. If it keeps going down, it's going to grind down like this. It might push a little harder at one point, but you can get out. It's not going like that, okay? right? It would go like that if we had this pattern like this. That's the scary pattern, straight out the middle like that. Okay, this is, to me, for what conditions we're in, looks like a good trading day. Okay, but small take profits on the buy side. Very small take profits on the buy side. Okay? Little scalps. And practice like, put in the trade ahead. So dips in, right? Dips in like that. Dips in like that. Dips in. That's how you trade this kind of pattern to the downside, okay? But it's coming down at a soft angle. We'll just get back up to the guaranteed cash, okay? Is if we shoot back up to this area here, okay? And again, it might, after 10 a.m. in 10 minutes time, shoot straight up through there. But because, unless we see that kind of action, all right, if it goes up like that, you don't have your limit order set there. You want an alert set here, right? That lets you know that price is crossing supply. Okay? You want one down here that lets you know that price is crossing demand. And then you can look at how the price action is. You need to feel good about the price action that you're seeing. Then you can put your limit orders in. Okay? This area here. What's price look like? I mean, already I feel safe buying down here. Little tiny scalps, okay, because of this pattern. And the way I see it, there's buying pressure, okay. The angle is not strong. It's not like this. Okay, the angle's like that. Okay, it's predictable. It's going to continue to do that throughout the session. I will adapt if it doesn't do that, but I'm happy with little scalps to the downside. And again, to the upside, what I'm looking for at the news is does it cut straight up like we saw yesterday? Is it a higher time frame? Like is it this kind of action? Is it goes up, pulls back, and then shoots up again? Because it's going to be very strong when it shoots up. If it shoots up, and we're going back to the upside. Okay, if it grinds up like this at news, like get in, grinding, like. But when I say grinds up like this, I'm talking about it grinds up in a, I don't want to describe that. Grinds up with a pressure, I guess, against it, okay, and a softer angle. If it slides up and continues grinding like this, that's what we want to stay out of, okay. And you get to feel that. I feel that in my bones. This is tradable. This is ill, okay. We had it yesterday. This. If it keeps going like this, if it shoots at the bottom of this riverbank, I'm going to be very vigilant with my selling, with my buying. If it does that, I'm going to stop, okay? But if it comes down here and that, like, hell yeah, let's get some buys in. Let's do it, right? Okay? I really hope that has made sense. I want you to embody it. I'm going to do the same thing every single day. I'm not talking gibberish. I'm showing you how to recognize this is the pattern recognition. It's why it's so difficult. It's not about dojis or anything. It's seeing how price reacts in this trend line, in the river, and how slidey or how resistant, grindy it is. I guess I'm going to put together terminology, okay, for this. Upside action, like you can definitely take the take profit out a little bit if it grinds up slowly like this, okay, then you can drag that take profit out to the median, make some money on the way down. If this at the moment gets back up to there, like it's a pretty good trade, okay. Just no crazy, like, oh man, it's very hard to articulate. This is just like clear as day to me to stay out of, okay. But yeah, we'll keep going. We'll get better at the explanation of things. I'm sure some of you that have been with me for a while will understand the cryptic gibberish that's coming out of my mouth, but it's very, very real and it's very lucrative. Have a great day. And trust me, the more you see what I'm seeing, the more you will feel comfortable with what I'm explaining. But we are just essentially, in a nutshell, trying to avoid that action. Okay? All right? And that might mean only trading 2 days a week. But those 2 days a week, 3 or 4K, that's all you need. Cheers.